Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome. So in today's video, I want to talk about why server meshing may be closer than we realise. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members for all of their support, allowing me to do what I love to do. In particular to Proximity for becoming my latest patron. Thank you so much for the support. All my links are in the description below should you want to help further. So a friend of mine who is a computer science engineer has been noticing some very interesting things happening over the course of this year, in particular during the last two patch releases, so from 3.9 through to 3.10.1, pointing towards Cloud Imperium getting ready for server meshing. A lot of which has actually left people scratching their heads trying to understand the logic behind some of Cloud Imperium's decisions regarding what we get in game for each patch. For example, Pico the Penguin, many people thinking that this is just a waste of time and resources in creating a stuffed toy with no real benefit, although this couldn't be further from the truth, and is probably one of the most important items to come into the game, which I will address later on in this video. So my friend has mentioned that he has seen clearly that Cloud Imperium are doing stuff to get the servers ready for server meshing and icache, which on the front end, so what we see as the player and play on the PU, can be very frustrating, but it is vital for the back-end infrastructure for the game to be possible. Unfortunately, but understandably, Cloud Imperium are a bit reluctant to talk about it and give dates in case they don't manage to accomplish this in the time frame. But my friend can see that 3.10 and 3.10.1 are pre-patches to stabilizing the backend to implement server meshing, stating that he can see this in a lot of things that CIG are doing. For example, he has seen multiple user cases where ship states are saved together with a vehicle that was outside of the ship during logoff on the PTU, and then when logging back into the PTU, the vehicle that was on the outside of the ship remained in the same location. So they are testing an instance to save entities outside of the physics grids of a ship. Now he thinks that this is how Cloud Imperium are trying to stabilize the servers and slowly work to bring server meshing, icache and global persistence in, and he goes on to say that seeing how much of the code has been changed and how much work has been done on the back end, then seeing how the client PC usage has changed in terms of memory, everything points to server meshing being very close. This, he says, is the reason why these memory leaks have been popping up more than normal, and these memory leaks are not client-side leaks, but server-side memory leaks. He said this is why so much work is being done on the patches from 3.9 to 3.10.1, and as mentioned in the latest 3.10.1 live patch notes, it sounds like they actually intend to continue bug fixing, which is not just to get it into a more playable state, but more importantly to get it into a state where the server meshing implementation can be possible. It all really depends, he says, on how quickly they can clean up the logical code errors. Now these are bugs that arise after compiling a build that basically pop up out of nowhere. They are unforeseen. It's also important to get these fixed now, because if you do it after server meshing is implemented, instead of it being looking for a needle in a haystack, they're looking for a needle in 100 haystacks. Now a good example of a logical code error which is taking over 6 months to figure out and still isn't right is the NPCs standing on chairs, which is not just one logical code error causing this issue, but multiple. He says there is only one reason why Cloud Imperium are this focused on getting rid of these logical code errors now, and that is because they are getting ready to implement icache and server meshing. This is probably another indication as to why the roadmaps are a little empty at the moment, as every time they do implement a new feature it creates more bugs, and this in turn will slow down the back-end work. Now he did say that he expects to see the server-to-client network rework tech, which is slated for 3.11, to get removed or pushed back so that they can focus on getting persistence and server meshing in its entirety. But what he thinks their plan is right now is to get these logical code errors fixed and then get icache working 100%, so save states are not corrupted anymore, and then maybe implement one instance into the PU, preferably a location that is in an okay state, but also a location that has everything like mining, shopping, food and drink, clothing, weapons, ships, etc., so that when you fly away from that instance, they can check the tokens on all saved states and see if it is transferring correctly. His best guess is that it'll be somewhere like New Babbage, which will be the place for one instance testbed. And this actually brings me back to Pico the Penguin. When Cloud Imperium implemented food and drink, They did so for a more important reason than just it being needed in maybe Squadron 42 and the future of the PU. They did this as these are small, low-impact items in terms of performance that are easy to track and test persistence with icache and server meshing. And the same goes for Pico the Penguin. Cloud Imperium know that players will take this toy everywhere, just like the Area 18 Turtle, which is also why out of nowhere we are able to store Pico and why they created the Where in the Verse is Pico contest, encouraging players to take Pico all over the verse, as it is a very important statistic in bug fixing for their persistence. So some other clues that my friend noticed in regards to what Cloud Imperium are doing for the backend system are seeing the changes in what got buffered on the client side, meaning they were changing how the game runs on the client, which in turn caused low frame rates but made sense when you add the separate instances. Then spending way longer than normal to clean up save states, and at the beginning of this year giving a character reset option, which only makes sense in an alpha if you know your backend is going to be causing issues. After this, he noticed in 3.10.1 PTU these save states on the backend, as I said earlier, where they actually change the backend save states on the fly throughout the day to gather data. All this combined together to someone with the know-how like my friend all made perfect sense. Now obviously he doesn't know the exact intentions or the rollout plan for this, and this could change day to day based on how things go, but I just wanted to bring this to your attention as I found it personally very interesting and exciting to hear that Cloud Imperium are doing so much behind closed doors, but visible on the build we are playing right now. And this is showing they are making great progress on finishing off all this incredibly important backend tech to make this game possible. Last we heard in regards to server meshing was actually during CitizenCon last year. It has briefly been spoken about during Pillar Talks, but at CitizenCon, Chris Roberts said that they are aiming to get server meshing implemented in 2020, but the chances are it'll be 2021. And it would be easier to expect this tech to come next year rather than this year, just based off of Star Citizen's history of pushbacks and delays. But it's looking very promising that server meshing and full persistence will come this year, maybe even sooner than we expect. Now obviously we have no official word on this from Cloud Imperium yet, as they would probably want to be far more confident before telling us anything, but if you take all this evidence, it is coming together, and once this tech is in and obviously working as intended, then it opens up the door to far more features. Personal inventories, physicalized cargo and ship components, other star systems, other mechanics, and of course larger player counts. These are the final steps of making Star Citizen possible, and it's likely going to be a very bumpy ride for the rest of the year while it's getting implemented and tweaked, but once it's in and working, it'll be quite the milestone and the next stage for Star Citizen's completion. All of this is why we're seeing a lot of problems on the persistence side of things, where people's loadouts, their purchased items, their UEC credits, their ships are going all over the place. But that is all I have. A big thank you to my friend for letting me know what it is that he's noticed, and I do understand the believe it when I see it outlook, and that is fine, but I'm excited to see what progress CIG will make this year on the back end and hopefully put us in a great place for 2021 to get on with implementing more and more features and mechanics. But with that said, if you want to be in with a chance to win a Mantis standalone ship, make sure you are subscribed and comment with what you're excited for the future of Star Citizen. This is courtesy of the Doctor, one of my channel members, so a big thank you to him. Be sure to tick that notification bell if you want to be notified when my videos go live. And if you want to come and hang out over on twitch.tv/supermacbrothers Ryan, we always have a good time. I stream 4 days a week. You are all more than welcome. Thank you again to my patrons and channel members. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.